All right, this should be our last section on our ACT packet. So we're going to start with number 19. We've got a series of lines and we're given the equation 4x minus 4y equals 4. So for me personally, I like to be able to solve and get y by itself so that we're in y equals mx plus b form. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides and bring down what's left over. And you can see I'm writing my minus 4x first. And then I'm going to divide everything by negative 4. And that's going to get y by itself. So negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1x. And then 4 divided by negative 4, well, that's actually negative 1. So if I've got my x and y axis here, I'm looking for the line that crosses at the y-intercept of negative 1 that has a positive slope. So that is going to be line E. Number 20, line M is parallel to line N, and we're looking for the measure of angle X. Now, this is a fairly common problem in geometry. We haven't done one like this, but there's a little bit of a strategy to working this one. So I am going to just show you the method, and this is probably just like my geometry teacher showed me. So the first thing I'm going to do, there's no rule about a bent transversal. So you've got to, and I'm just going to take an envelope here because I put my ruler away. And we've got to draw in, or at least imagine, another parallel line. That way we have one transversal going this way, and we could follow all those transversal rules. And then we have another transversal going the other way. So if I do that, then I can see, I'm going to put a dot here. The dot and the 38 are going to be alternate interiors. So I can say this part of X is also a 38. And then I'm going to take and put two dots down here, this bottom part of angle X. And I see that my 102 plus my 2 dot angle, those are same side interiors inside of the new parallel line that I've drawn. And same side interiors, we know they add up to 180. So if I subtract 102 from 180, I get 78 for my 2 dot angle. So I've got a 38 and a 78, and if I combine those together, that is going to add up to 116 degrees. So that's how you would do one of those type of problems. For number 21, I've got a line and it's telling where it intersects the x-axis. So that's called the x-intercept. And this is actually something we learned about in Algebra 1. The x-intercept is where does that line cross the x-axis. So I'm going to do this in a couple of different ways. First thing I'm going to do is get y by itself. I'm going to distribute my 2. So I have y plus 6 equals 2x minus 10. And then I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. So y equals 2x minus 16. And then, so if I'm graphing this thing, and I'm picturing it. So say here's a negative 16 down here. It's going to cross there. And then we're going to go up 2 and over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1, up 2 over 1. And we're going to cross somewhere here on the x-axis. Okay, and the place that we're going to cross is wherever my y value is 0. So I could plug this into a graphing calculator and I could use the table. In fact, let me run and grab one of my kids' graphing calculators and I'll show you that. Okay, so I have my TI calculator. As you can see, I hit the y equals button and I'm going to put in 2x minus 16. And when I graph it, I can see I'm down there at negative 16. And I'm looking for where it crosses the y-axis. So I can visually see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can visually see that it crosses at 8, but I can also hit second graph and look at the table and see that when y is 0, x is 8. So 8, 0 is the coordinates of that point. Number 22, the measures of angles A, B, C in a triangle are in the ratio of 1 to 3 to 5. And what's the measure of the largest angle? So we've done problems like this in class where we have a ratio of 1 to 3 to 5. That means they all have a common scale factor. We know all three of the angles in a triangle add up to 180. So I'm going to combine like terms and divide and get x equals 20. Then they want the largest angle, so that's going to be the one with the 5. So 5 times 20, that's going to give me 100. Number 23, the surface area of a rectangular prism is 206 square meters. The dimensions of one base are 3 by 5. So what's the height? So here's the deal. Surface area is if you add up all the areas. So I'm going to put my 3 by 5 here at the bottom. I'm going to say that bottom is 3 by 5 and that top is 3 by 5. And then my height is what they're looking for. So surface area, you have to add up. You have to find the area of the top and bottom. You have to find the area of the front and back. And you have to add the area of the left end and the right end. So we're going to go with our dimensions for each one of these guys, and we're going to add those all up, and we're going to set it equal to 206. So my top and bottom, each one of those is 3 by 5. And I do length times width, and I have numbers for both of those. So that's a 15 and a 15. So that's 30. Now my front is this piece right here. I'm going to call that the front, and that's 5 times h. And then the back is also 5h. So that's going to be a 10h. And then my left and right is going to be that little red box there, and that's going to be a 3 times h. So I'm going to write a 3h and a 3h. So then I have 6 h's there. So now that we see it written as an equation like this, it probably looks a little bit simpler. So I'm going to go ahead and subtract off my 30 from both sides, and I combine like terms. 16h equals 206 minus 30. That is 176. Divide by 16, and we get our height is 11. So I'm sure there's some working backwards and some other ways that you could figure that out, but I am an algebra teacher and I'm very comfortable with the algebra. So that's how I would do it. You probably could work backwards and plug some of these things in if you needed to do that. All right, so the area of the shaded triangle is, and let's see, we've got the vertices are here at 2, 2, and 10, 4, and 4, 7. So what we don't really have, see, the height would be somewhere in the middle here, and we don't really have the height. So they've drawn, and the rectangle is given, they have drawn this rectangle around the outside of the triangle. So, and I believe the answer key has you do this. You find the area of the rectangle, and then you subtract off all the white triangles, which you do know the length and width for those. So let's do that. We're going to call this triangle 1, triangle 2, and triangle 3. So I'm going to find the area of the rectangle, and then I'm going to subtract off the area of triangle 1, the area of triangle 2, and the area of triangle 3. And you can't see any of that. There we go. Okay, so the area of the rectangle, so let's just review our formulas. The area of a rectangle, we do length times width. The area of a triangle, we do 1/2 base times height. So my rectangle is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 units long, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units tall. So that rectangle is going to have an area of 40. Now triangle 1, I'm going to go 1/2, and the base is 2, and the height is 5. So half of 2 is 1, and 1 times 5 is 5. My second triangle, my height is 3, and my base is 6. So I'm going to go 1/2 times 3 times 6 is 1/2 of 18 is 9. And then triangle 3 has a height of 2. So wait, minus 1/2. The base is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, same as the rectangle. 1/2 times 8 times 2. So 8 times 2 is 16, half of that is 8. So if I go 40 minus 22, I get 18. And let me just check my answer key. And that's correct. Okay, so next one, we have a parallelogram. What's the coordinate of x comma y? So this is a thinking problem. Thing we need to know about parallelograms is that this side and this side are the same length. So wherever we start, it's going to be c units to the right, but it's not going to be up or down any. So if you see here where A is the place we start, to go from A here, we would just have to add c to it. And then our B, or our height, is the same. So my y value is just the same as B. So I'm looking for A plus C comma B, and that's choice B. Number 26, we're going to use our theorem about the sum of the angles in a triangle adds up to 180. So I'm going to take and call this triangle 1, and I'm going to find my angle right here. Call that angle 1. So we got 55 plus 80 plus angle 1 equals 180. So subtract off, and we get angle 1 is 45. And I'll call this angle 2. So angle 2 is part of this other triangle. So 100 plus 60 plus angle 2 equals 180. So my angle 2 here, if I subtract 160 off, equals 20. So angle 1 is 45, angle 2 is 20, and then angle T plus 45 plus 20 is equal to 180. So I'm going to subtract 180 minus 65, and I get 115. And number 27, the perimeter of this isosceles trapezoid is 52. So basically what you need to know, an isosceles trapezoid has two sides that are the same. So if we take 18 and 8, we get 26. The whole thing is 52. So 26 plus 2 times whatever this side is 52. So subtract out the 26. 2 sides is 26. So I get, divide by 2, I get each side is 13. Now, that is not what they asked me, and forgive me. So I found my side length. Each one of these is 13. I did need to know that to solve it. So to find the area, I need to know the height of the trapezoid. So what I'm going to do is draw my height in there. And then I'm going to imagine that there's a square, or a box at least, inside of my triangle. And I've got this 8, and then that 8 is here also. And so 18 minus 8 is 10. There's 10 left over, so I have a 5 here and a 5 here. And so if this is 5, 8, and 5, I can see this is a right triangle here, and this height is one of my legs. So I can use the Pythagorean theorem. And remember, the hypotenuse is always the number on the outside, the 5, and then the missing leg is on the inside. So if I subtract 25 from 169, I get b squared is 144 and square root, and I get that my missing height is 12. Okay, so now that I know the height, I can use my area of a trapezoid formula. So I'm going to take, and I'll write it out. So we take base 1 plus base 2, cut it in half, and then multiply times the height. So base 1 is 18, base 2 is 26, or sorry, is 8. So 18 and 8 is 26. 26 divided by 2 is 13. 13 times 12 gives me my area, which is 156. So that's right there. And that, my friends, is the end of ACT packet number 2. Thanks for watching.